There. That better? Alright, cool. We're in fucking business here. Fuck Biden. He's a piece of shit. Right? Right. Alright, well, let's get good and high, because for the end of the world, you might as well get stoned, am I right? Fuck Joe Biden. Fuck fucking Biden. Fuck everyone. Alright, so we're gonna try this again. I had some technical difficulties, but I think I got them under control and shit. Alright, so we're gonna try this again. I had some just let me get high. Fuck fucking Biden. Fuck Joe Biden, am I right? Alright. You know what sucks about YouTube? Damn near everything. Okay, so some economists say Biden's plan to fight inflation will likely just make it worse. Well, no shit. What's his plan? Just spend us out of this catastrophe? President Joe Biden emphasized in his State of the Union address on Tuesday he would fight inflation by enacting a policy that economists generally agree would exacerbate inflation. I think I have a bigger idea to fight inflation, said Biden. Lower your costs, not your wages. Well, I mean, that makes a lot of fucking sense, Biden. That means make more cars and semiconductors in America instead of relying on foreign supply chains. Let's make it in America. Except America doesn't fucking build anything. Ha ha. Crowd breaks out into USA chant after President Biden says, instead of relying on foreign supply chains, let's make it. Yeah, well, sounds good, but we've heard it all before, haven't we? I went through it over the last stream, the bullshit that gets fucking sprayed like feces all over the American people. Psh.
That means make more cars and semiconductors in America, more infrastructure and innovation in America, more goods moving faster and cheaper in America, more jobs where you can earn a good living in America. Instead of relying on foreign supply chains, let's make it in America. Look.
How about you get fucked in America?
Economists. Economists call this increasing the productive capacity of our economy.
He's a fucking idiot, and all these people are fucking retarded. How are you supposed to build semiconductors in the U.S. when you just deindustrialize the nation? Oh, God. We're not going to make it, are we? Biden was immediately rebutted by the Peterson Institute for International Economics on Twitter, while a political winner research finds that Buy American requires increased U.S. domestic procurements costs across federal and state government by 5.6% in 2017, costing U.S. taxpayers in addition $94 billion fucking dollar. Right? I wish the president I wish the president had placed less emphasis on anti-inflation policies that are at best peripheral and possibly counterproductive, wrote economist Larry Summers, shifting demand to American producers with Buy America policies that stop firms and consumers from buying at lower costs. No matter how politically attractive or inflationary, this is something all economists should agree on. They're screaming, USA. Well, the whole country doesn't even build anything. Yeah, just keep screaming that. While it becomes a Chinese century, you simp. While a political winner research, yeah, we just read that. Oof, that doesn't look good. The Federal Reserve has been way behind the curve. One of the reasons this is damaging. Who's this coming from? Summer? Shut the fuck up. Who do you think's causing all this? The Federal Reserve is the one who prints the money, you fucking idiot. I wish President had placed less emphasis on anti-inflation policies that are at best peripheral and possibly counterproductive. Shut up. Lowering costs would help with inflation. Kiss your ass goodbye. You know why? Nothing's going to stop this hyperinflation. They printed more money than you can even possibly imagine in your fucking brain. And when things hit the pavement, we already see it with gas prices. If hyperinflation does not grip and bring the West down, you know what happens? That means that the whole thing's fake. Therefore, it would be hard to charge anybody with fraud when they're the biggest fraudsters on planet fucking Earth. There's a reason why you don't feel inflation in America. It's because everything that you used to buy in America is now... Well, no shit. Who the fuck doesn't know that at this point?
But what people need to understand is going back 40 years, and then more specifically since 1994, when we sort of reduced all trade restrictions on China, there's a reason why you don't feel inflation in America, because everything that you used to buy that used to be made in America is now made in China. So the trade-off we got is we got really cheap goods for a very long time, and we have started to see how it affects our jobs. And what neither Republicans nor Democrats have done a good job at is explaining to Americans how, even though GDP goes up and corporate profitability goes up, how we haven't dealt with the American worker. So this is satisfying on some fronts to say, we're going to punish the Chinese and it's going to help us. But ultimately, the conversation's more sophisticated than that. We are dependent on inexpensively made Chinese goods. The proportion of things that we buy that are Chinese made will boggle the mind. So this is not the most sophisticated way to deal with this particular matter. There is a real, as the Secretary says, real problems with what China is doing, particularly as it relates to intellectual property, but this may not be the
Now what? We're going to keep going. I don't care if nobody watches. What's the difference? Hey, keep going here. Let's keep going. Russian news. Convoy stalled outside of Kiev for days as Russian military plans government to... Well, that's the funny thing, right? Here's the thing I'm going to bring up. Not a lot of people understand. Maybe they're not meant to... Look, he's sniffing a kid. Maybe he's not meant... Maybe most people are not meant to understand. Okay. Keywords. Convoy stalled outside of Kiev for days, right? Now, if Ukraine was doing so well in the air, then how the fuck is this possible? Convoy stalled outside of Kiev for days. How's that possible? You know why? Because Russia has air superiority. That goes to Kiev and all that bullshit. True or not, it made no difference. You know why? Because Russia owns the skies over Ukraine. But a convoy of Russian military vehicles has moved less than 15 miles outside of Kiev. U.S. defense officials said during a Wednesday briefing that Russia is currently using about 82% of its full-stage combat power in Ukraine, which he added is not a significant influx of additional combat capability into Ukraine from what was staged over the last few months. We believe that the convoy is stalled. It's a long convoy. Again, we don't have perfect visibility. You know why it's stalled? Because Putin's convoy can only go 61 kilometers at a time without being refueled. And since they own the air superiority over Ukraine, it matters not if they're stalled. That's what I suspect. No movement closer to the city than we've briefed a couple days ago. I say appreciable movement because we don't have perfect visibility on every unit, every tank, every truck, but basically they remain stalled outside the set. So they're sitting ducks. And they can't be attacked. Why? Because Russia owns the fucking skies. And America got suckered in one more time. And that's the other problem. Is that the Ukrainians will assume that they can win based on the past news. But in reality, from what I understand, I'm starting to believe that the reports were true. I didn't see any footage because I didn't think of it. But it appears Russia basically destroyed Ukrainians' Navy and Air Force in the first couple days of this whole thing. Ukraine war, DOJ launches task force to target Russian oligarchs, seize assets. So that's international war crime. So now they want to start World War III because they're fucked. The United States has announced the formation of a task force that will enforce the sweeping sanctions against Russia announced by President Biden, including actions against the powerful billionaire oligarchs. Attorney General Merrick Garland announced the launch of Task Force Klepto Capture, an interagency law enforcement task force dedicated to enforcing the export restrictions and economic countermeasures Biden placed on Russia. Justice Department will use all of its authorities to seize the assets of individuals and entities who violate these sanctions, said General Fuckhead. We will leave no stone unturned. Cliche. In our efforts to investigate, arrest, and prosecute those whose criminal acts enable the Russian government to continue this unjust war, he added, let me be clear, if you violate our laws, we will hold you accountable. Those laws apply to the oligarchs, a group of Putin's closest associates who become billionaires in the first years of the post-Soviet regime in Russia as they carved up various industries amongst themselves. Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco pledged to deprive these men of any whatever lie bullshit. Moving on. Lie. AOC blasts Biden for glossing over key issues in his speech. President Biden uses State of the Union. Am I yelling? Am I fucking yelling? State of the Union to send a message to Vladimir Putin, praise the bravery of the Ukrainian people. Yeah, and they're all going to get killed. Makes you wonder, like, if this is what being a real man is, just being brave and getting killed, then, doesn't seem so great. And try to kickstart his stalled agenda. He also told America it's time to get back to work after COVID, called for unity, and took a swipe at Donald Trump for his tax cuts and his infrastructure weak remarks. Below is his speech, which ran just over 1 hour in full. Madam Speaker, Madam Vice President, First Lady, members of Congress and Cabinet justices of the Supreme Court, my fellow Americans. Last year, COVID-19 kept us all apart. This year, we are finally together again. Tonight, we meet as Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, but mostly important with a duty to one another, to the American people, to the Constitution, and with an unwavering resolve that freedom will always triumph over tyranny. Hear the sausages cooking in the background. Instead, he met a wall of strength he never imagined. He met the Ukrainian people, in which most of them are going to die because of stupid news like this. In this struggle, as President Zelensky said in his speech to the European Parliament, light will win over darkness. The Ukrainian ambassador to the United States is here tonight. Throughout our history, we've learned this lesson. When dictators do not pay a price for their aggression, they cause more chaos. They keep moving, and the costs and threats to America and the world keep rising. That's why the NATO alliance was created, to secure peace and stability in Europe after World War II. The United States is a member along with 29 other nations. It matters. American diplomacy matters. American resolve matters. Biden's a fucking simp. Yeah, well, keep those troops out of there, because that's fucked. Jen Psaki mocked after pointing out pattern of Putin last invading Ukraine when Biden was vice president. That's kind of funny. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki was mocked on social media after pointing out that President Biden was the vice president the last time Russia decided to invade Ukraine. I was in the State Department. The president was the vice president the last time Russia invaded Ukraine, Psaki said on CNN Wednesday. This is a pattern of horror from President Putin and from the cronies around him. Several Twitter users quickly claimed that Psaki had inadvertently drawn a connection between Putin's aggression and President Biden being in power. Russia invaded and annexed the Crimea region of Ukraine while Biden served as vice president in 2014. Well, isn't that funny? Fuck Biden. It's a piece of shit. What the fuck's going on here? Fuck fucking Biden, eh? Alright. That's the sausages cooking in the background, but it'll die down, I swear. Heard that new Batman movie's fucking boring as shit, eh? First step in admitting you have a problem. This guy only seems to invade other countries while my boss is in office. It's funny. It's a pattern of weakness from the Democrat that our enemies know won't stop them. Well, no shit, they won't let him in NATO. What do you think that is? Like, why do you think that is? The only way they let Ukraine and NATO is if they literally wanted to go to war with Russia. Because I reported on it earlier. It wasn't just me, as professionals, historians from 2014, 2018 openly admitting that if NATO expanded, Russia would attack because they don't give a fuck. They don't want the same thing to happen that happened in World War II. And then Napoleon War as well. Happened the same way. They attacked from the west, but school district called employers of parents who criticized its COVID policies and allegedly kept files on them. One parent lost their job soon after. Officials with the Michigan Public School District contacted employers of parents who criticized the district's COVID-19 policies and allegedly even kept files on problematic parents. And one of those parents who fled a lawsuit against the district said she was fired after the district contacted her boss, Robert Shaner, superintendent shitfuck, said in a deposition that he called Detroit police, but a problematic parent who worked as an officer, according to the Daily Wire, which cited a recent Detroit news report. I said I was concerned about this behavior, and from Facebook post, and he does for a living with the department, the assistant chief said that she would look into it, contact their legal counsel. Shaner added that the parent mentioned that people should go to people's homes and protest. I took his language as aggressive, concerning, the outlet said, citing the news. Yeah, well, no surprise there. UN passes resolution condemning Russia's invasion of Ukraine. China abstains because they're allies, obviously. The United Nations General Assembly passed historic resolution Wednesday condemning Russia's deadly invasion into Ukraine and demanding it withdraw immediately. But everyone tells the UN to get fucked, so I'm not expecting anything to occur. Resolution holds no legal authority. Here, check this out. So why the fuck would anybody care? But serves as a symbol of global unity against Russia. Yeah, well, it doesn't matter, does it? We're moving on. China asked Russia to delay Ukraine war until after Olympics. That's fucked up. China and Russia have been strengthening their economic, diplomatic, and military ties for years. Mr. Xi and Putin met 37 times as national leaders before the discussion in Beijing ahead of the Olympics. Probably discussed this whole invasion. For months, some American officials tried to recruit China. That's the funny thing, is that all these left-wing fucking idiots in the U.S. all support China, but now China supports Russia, and they think Russia helped Trump win somehow because they're turds. So now what are they supposed to do? So now they're supporting both sides of the war, is that it? They support neo-Nazis and communists? Days after Biden spoke to the Chinese president, video summit on November 15th, senior American officials decided to present intelligence on the Russian troop buildup around Ukraine as senior Chinese officials try to get them to persuade Putin to stand down. Americans spoke to Kui Gang, Chinese ambassador in Washington, and Wang Yi, the foreign minister, among others, in a half dozen meetings, including one in Washington between U.S. officials and the Chinese ambassador just hours before the Russian invasion. Chinese officials expressed skepticism that Mr. Putin would invade Ukraine, American officials said. Just check Twitter, because fuck, why not? Notice how they're not showing any war footage anymore. Isn't that something? This man is fighting for the future of his country. I don't fucking know. Sure seems that way, because he's calling what happened with this invasion like a last resort. Interesting cartoon. Kind of read between the lines how Yemen, Iraq, Syria, Palestine, Afghanistan all been destroyed because they're America's allies. But because Ukraine is getting attacked by Russia, who is not America's ally, gets noticed. So I see the hypocrisy. I get it. The leader of the NATO countries, the U.S. owes $26 trillion to the world. Yeah, well, who's going to make them pay it? The top G7 NATO countries' debt rose to 140%. Yeah, we know. The money is insane. 88% of Ukrainians believe in victory against Russia. That's what I call morale. A few days ago it was 70%, which is also very good. Resistance will continue to increase. Yeah, and this fucking idiot's gonna get all the Ukrainians fucking killed. Because Russia's not losing, mark my words. The African people stand with Russia. Well, that's interesting. Certainly didn't see that coming. No more war. Well, it's sad, isn't it? It's fucking... It's just sad. What is this?
Русский военный корабль!
Russia, go fuck
Слава
yourself.
Украине!
Wow, that's fascinating. Bill C-36 hate speech bill that includes pre-crime and the ability to be taken to court for something you haven't said. Fuck, that shit's real? Bill C-36. Fuck me. Let's look this up. No. Well, I'm not reading that. What does it fucking mean? Royal treats yeah, that's about prostitution as a form of sex. What the fuck's this idiot talking about? Where is it? Here. C-36, what the hell did I type in? Prostitution bill, so okay, I'm just gonna bypass that. As the whole world stands against Russia without justification, personally I stand for justice. I stand with Rush. Indeed, Russia should not infringe on Ukraine's sovereignty and territory. What is this? But NATO also should not threaten Russia's national security with 5 consecutive rounds of eastward expansion. Sanctions will not help end the war and only hope for peace. Now I see what happened. If that's correct, I see Russia's concern. Well, it seems kind of like if you're a purist or not, because if you don't want Europe to change the way it looks right now, the Russian model is far superior model. However, if you don't mind that Europe is changing, not necessarily for the better and permanently, then the NATO model would probably be more attractive. But you start to see Russia's concern, if this is accurate, which, as far as I could tell, it is. Because 1991, That's when this started breaking apart, didn't it? War doesn't sell anything, and it's true. Because after the First World War, basically, everybody just gave the territories back. Yeah. We don't see any more war footage, do you? You know why? Russia's kicking the fuck out of them, I suspect. Anyways, I'm gonna eat.